Hello Year 9. Recently you've been taking a look at the persecution that the Jews faced in Germany between 1933 and 1945 and how that escalated over time. What I'd like to do today is take a look at how that knowledge that you already have could be used in an exam type answer. Now, here in front of me I've got a copy of a specimen paper from the exam board, AQA GCSE History, the Germany paper. This is easy to obtain. You can just do a quick Google search and it should be one of the top results. AQA GCSE History Germany exam paper, fairly straightforward to find. And this gives me all 6 questions that could be asked on this particular exam paper. And more importantly, it's not necessarily the specific questions that you have here, but it's the wording of them, what they are looking for, the skills that they are testing. And in particular today, I want to take a look at question number 5. This one here, question 5 says, in what ways were the lives of women in Germany affected by Nazi social policies? Explain your answer. I'm going to tweak that slightly because we're not thinking about women today, we're thinking about Jews. So I'm going to change this question. I'll write down the one that we want to be looking at just below it. There we go. So I'll cross out the question there and the rest remains the same. In what ways were the lives of Jews affected by Nazi policies between 1933 and 1945? Explain your answer. This question's worth 8 marks in total. So before we start, it's just worthwhile understanding what it is the examiner will be looking for. Now, every examiner will have a copy of the mark scheme. I've got a copy of, again, this is another specimen one that's been produced here. I'm not actually going to use that too much, but what I do want to do is just quickly write down what the 4 levels are for this particular question and what each level is looking for you to do. So what I've put down here, I've effectively simplified the mark scheme from the 2 and a bit pages there. It's the bits in bold in particular that the examiner would be taking a look at. I've tried to simplify that down into 4 key points. For each of the levels, level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, working up, maximum marks you can get for level 1 is 2 marks, 4 marks for level 2, 6 marks for level 3, 8 marks for level 4. And the skills and the complexity of what it is you are showing in your answer also builds up with the more detail and the structure of your answer overall. One of the key things I think just to notice at this point here is this. For level 1 or level 2, it talks about you just using or just making a simple explanation of a change overall. Level 1, a basic explanation of a change. The difference between getting a level 2 or a level 3 or better is this. Changes plural. They are looking for you to show a wider range of knowledge and understanding for you to hit those higher level answers. So, what do we need for this then? What does this tell us? Well, simply, if we're going to write a level 2 answer, we're unlikely to do any more than show some good knowledge about one way in which the Jews were affected. I think it's important to remember that we want to set this out in clear paragraphs. So starting with paragraph 1 with a clear point about how the Jews were affected first of all by Nazi persecution. So first of all, a nice clear point for our opening sentence to indicate where we are going to go with this first paragraph. Here I've got between 1933 and 35, Jews suffered from a range of anti-Semitic laws. Nice to get some of those key terms in there. That's subject-specific vocabulary that were passed by the Nazis, taking away their rights as citizens. Now, once we've got that point in, we need to put forward the evidence to help us prove that even further. And if we think back to what we've looked at previously, we might talk about, for example, in the paragraph, we might talk about the 1935 Nuremberg laws. And we might include another example, such as Jews forbidden from working for the government. Two good bits or three good bits of evidence in there to support our point. Now at this point we're on for a good level 2. We're solidly starting to hit that, in that we've got a nice point, we've started to evidence it as well. An explanation of this would really just help to finish this off. And therefore, if we were to explain the significance of these actions, that the passing of these laws saw Jews lose many of their rights without many other Germans feeling that the Nazis were too extreme at that time, that these laws almost helped the Nazis to prepare other Germans for some of the more brutal policies that would follow in the coming years. That would be quite a nice way to round off this particular paragraph. But we've still only really explained one particular change. There were anti-Semitic laws that took away their rights as citizens. So, if we're going to push this up into a level 3, we need to show a second way in which the lives of Jews were affected by Nazi policies. In a second paragraph, then, we need to explain how Nazi policies became more violent. Plus explanation, just to finish paragraph 1, but then paragraph 2, so with this point here, from 1938, Nazi policies became increasingly hostile and violent, increasing the suffering of German Jews. We now want to look to support this with a little bit of evidence. Now, we might think back again, what did we see? From 1938, how did the suffering of the Jews increase? Well, that might give us some scope to talk about the events. My pen works, there we go. The events of Kristallnacht, the 9th of November 1938, where we could talk about the attacks on the synagogues and Jewish businesses and how they were made to pay 1 billion marks for the damage that was done against their own property. We could also talk about the start of the Holocaust and the plans that were made from January 1942 for the final solution, leading to the mass murder, the genocide of the Jews in places such as Auschwitz. Now again, with both of these, we've made our point, we've got some good evidence in. We are starting, coming back to the question, in what ways were the lives of Jews affected? We're starting to show this escalation here now. And we've comfortably moved on from a level 2 answer, talking just about how they were affected by anti-Semitic laws, to this outright hostility and violence that they faced from 1938 onwards. Both of these examples that we have here show how the Jews experienced a clear change in Nazi policies, and this is now clearly a strong level 3 answer. To really pull this up into a level 4 answer, we've got to think about this idea of it being complex, a complex explanation of changes. There we go. I think for a level 4 answer, that would be the type of thing that we are looking for there. Really pushing us up, kind of drawing together, showing the connection between the earlier anti-Semitic laws, which were largely non-violent, to the clear and outright violence that occurred towards the end of the period, and how it was the Nazis manipulated people so that that became something that was accepted within German society. Worthwhile now, you having a go, using perhaps this as a plan and as guidance for how you would write your own answer, putting this together into your own finished answer. Until next time, stay safe.